Hello friends, today we're going to take a look at a Jakiro replay for DLC Warboy here. Now in your comment you said that your team flamed you, I hope not the team you were partied with, and said that you were the reason you lost. What are my thoughts? And point out things you did right or wrong, your rotations, and call out the bad plays from your team as well. So what I will say, we're gonna replay, we're gonna watch. You have a wide variety of ranks here, and you are relatively the highest. Having said that, at this level, ranks are like really muddy because some people are really good at, say, a single hero, but then really trash at everything else, or whatever. There's just like a bunch of reasons someone might be in these ranks. So what that can mean is that you kind of do have some responsibility on your team to like lead them to victory because you're like kind of the higher MMR. You should be able to point out like, hey, we should do this or whatever. But at the same time, people won't necessarily listen just because you're the highest, and people shouldn't necessarily have to listen to you just because you're the highest rank. It can also mean that people's flames is absolutely meaningless because they don't know what's going on at this level. All of that is to say, I am still going to focus on what you do right and wrong. I always do that. I'll point out things that the team does badly if I think it's relevant, but I want that to be in a way where it's like, we just want to know that the team's not doing the right thing here so that in the future we can try to direct our team to do the right thing. But I don't want it to be like a justification to flame them back or anything like that, because I don't encourage that. Although I don't encourage people flaming others either. But usually as the highest MMR, you are an easy target to be flamed. So let's see what happens. Who's your mid? Zeus? You should give... Wait, what are you? It said you were the support. You may have swapped. No, but you have an Oracle. Oracle should be the 5, I feel like. Oops, what did I just do? Weird. I think we should have just gone back to the replay. I don't know why it's starting over, but that's fine, because now I have time to talk. Oracle should be the 5. I don't know if you're going top for like a first blood sort of deal. Let's see. Totally unrelated. I don't know if you guys watch StarCraft at all. There's a guy named Harstum who makes these videos called Is It Imba or Do I Suck? I kind of like the idea of that in Dota, where he watches replays from people who are like, I did everything perfectly. This unit's busted in this game. And then he points out why they're awful and why that unit is not broken. And it's just that they're bad. I don't know if that works as well in a team game as Dota, though, but I like that concept. And he's like hard on the people who submit it, stuff like that. I don't know. I don't like being mean or anything, but I think it is useful to like point out our faults when we think like, I didn't do anything wrong, because that really happens a lot in Dota, where people are like, look at my KDA, it's huge, but they did a lot wrong. Let's see what you do wrong. In terms of your starting items, I don't mind the tangos, don't mind the salve. I do think you need to give tangos to mid. I really don't understand if who's the 5 or not. If you're the 4, and then I guess this is fine. But if you're the 4, I feel like you should be with Underlord. I'm trying to see why you might have done this, and I'm not sure. I feel like Oracle should be wherever the Venomancer is, and Venomancer's probably the offlaner. Oh, maybe the Venom's the 5, actually. In which case, that kind of makes sense, because Oracle can dispel the Q. Well, we'll see. 3 clarities is kind of a lot. I would prefer some of this to be mangoes. You're also floating a lot of money. I think usually... Because, I mean, look at their team. He can charge you, so if he sees you out of... even if he's, like, out of range to attack you, but he sees you claritying, he could charge you to break your clarity. The damage over time stuff actually doesn't cancel your stuff. His does, though. He's, like, a ranged hero, kind of fast. He could break your stuff. He's melee, so he's not really going to break your stuff. But 3 is just a lot, and they're going to be hard to use because you're probably against Axe if you're in this lane. So I would really prefer seeing a mango or 2, and then like 1 or 2 clarities. Don't get too close. This guy either started passive or W. Probably not W because he hasn't used it yet, which means he's either bad or he started with his passive. But he hasn't spun at all. He just has nothing. He's just losing trades. I don't know. You should double up on here, because he does not This charge only stuns whoever he targets because he doesn't have bash yet. So you should be right on top of here to make it more difficult for him to click this rune. And it puts you in a better position to get the kill. So you get it anyways. Still, I recommend trying to stand right on top of it. You could probably kill him. I think you're trying to get in front to body block. I would stop here. I wouldn't dive any further. Okay, good. Clarity, that's also good. Okay, good stuff so far. You get a win lace. You floated a bit of money, but you got the win lace early. I think that's okay. There you go. That's what Axe is going to do, but you got a decent amount of your clarity anyways. We're recording, right? Lord. Okay, we're good. I haven't watched it at all. I have no idea what we're going to see. Mainly, anytime you're worried about your team flaming you, though, first we think about our first 10 minutes of play as a support, whether we did good or not there. Well, whatever. Whether we did well in the first 10 minutes or not, if we did that part good, next step, what were our overarching contributions to the team? So we'll take the first 10 minutes. Nice. Good get on that. I'd be thinking about the pull. You're not going to be able to pull now at this point. Axe. Well, any melee offlaner, really, to an extent. And they don't like being split up, right? Between, you have some creeps here, you have some creeps here. I think pulling, doing a half pull right here would be really good. You leave some creeps for PA to stay here. PA is a very, even though she's melee against Axe, because she has dagger, it's very safe to leave her in lane usually, and she should just position well so that this Spirit Breaker doesn't kill her. But I think a pull would have been really good to, oops. A pull would have been really good to reduce the gold coming in here. Because Spirit Breaker's literally not doing anything right now, is he? You know, he's not contributing to this lane, and so you don't really need to be here. It's 2v1, but PA would be fine 1v1. And even if he's waiting to charge in on her, I don't know. She should just stand back here while you're doing the pull. Or I guess you could wait till she hits level 2, but I don't know. I think you can just pull right now. All this, I don't think it's strictly necessary. Liquid fire, good stuff. See, this is going to push. I definitely want to pull. No, we've missed the timing, though. So we're going to have to try to pull out the next one. You could have tried to stack there, though. I think that also would have been good. That would have let you pull the entire wave instead of doing, like, half pulls, anything like that. It's going to be really hard to kill Spirit Breaker for that reason. I don't encourage you start Ice Path to try to get that kill because he's a very tanky hero. But for, say, you were close to killing him and you hit level 2, maybe you level Ice Path for that kill to cancel that charge. But it's kind of hard because you have such a long cast time on Ice Path. And I do prefer the Liquid Fire better. All of this is time to be pulling. As soon as he charged out, pull. We're going to get a pull here. But I think 1 or 2 pulls could have happened at this point already. But we're not pulling. We're stacking instead. I think I would have preferred a pull. I guess it's okay either way. I don't hate it, but at the same time, when this is now when you're pulling for the first time, and at this point, you know, now he's level 3. It's kind of weird. He should be 2 in counter helix or something, 2 in battle hunger maybe. I don't think he needs call. But now that Spirit Breaker has charge and bash, this is when he's much more dangerous, right? Like the initial stun is like, okay, whatever, and then I walk away. But now he has the chance to chain bash people, and that's when he's really deadly. And now it's a little harder to leave her in lane, especially because it's now up here. The first time I started talking about pulling, it was still here. He was level 1, which means all he contributes is a very low damage stun. And by low damage, I mean no damage, but the stun, you know, he hits you and stuff. Now it's scarier to do it, and now is when you're pulling. So this could have happened a minute ago, 2 minutes ago, really, at this point. The first pull is 117. But stacking it and then pulling, if you pull the whole wave, is, I think, should be okay, too. Okay, telling her to be careful with the courier. That's good. Don't let that distract you from getting the pull. Don't use Liquid Fire. Look at all, they are all weakened now and attacking slower. You want these to kill off your creeps like as quickly as possible. And Liquid Fire is pretty long cooldown. You want to use it on harassing the enemies, not these creeps. You don't strictly even need these to die, you know? These could be killed off. Oh, I was sorry. I got lost. I was like confused how you had all these creeps. But then I remember there's a kobold version. I was like, oh. Because you can't stack the same camp twice in a row. But anyways, these creeps don't specifically need to die, right? You just need them to kill this one, and then you could just stack them again or keep pulling with a broken wave. You don't need them all to die. You need this guy to be harassed down and weakened, though. So I think it's much better to use Liquid Fire on him rather than on these creeps. I don't feel like PA should be here. I know that's not you, but I think you guys are in a party. PA should be up here farming these. Like, contesting with Axe. You don't need to be right on top. You have the dagger. And then you and Spirit Breaker are here. If Spirit Breaker decides to charge in over here, that is when, like, a half pull is useful to leave some creeps for her to jump to. That part is a little more dangerous, but still, someone needs to be here, and not both of you need to be here. So if PA doesn't want to go to lane, then I think you be in lane and absorb some of the farm, or at least the experience, you know? So Axe now wants to start pulling. See, these are all like significant last hits that PA should be getting, and not you. That's why it's usually the carry who stays at the tower. At this point, there's like nothing to do in this lane, almost. And this is why it's really important for the start to go well. Once if Axe decides to start pulling, there's like very little most position 5s can do. And so you want to establish the advantage really early. That's why I was pointing out like the 117 pull right now, or like all the pulls after that, doing them as soon as possible to get the advantage so that you can leave this lane. And if PA's like level 4 or 5 and she has like her point in blur, she has a much better chance at surviving. But now she's like on equal footing with Axe, and if you try to leave, Spirit Breaker is also decently leveled, and now it's hard. Whereas, you know, if you get the advantage early from pulling, she's higher level than both of them combined or something. Well, probably not combined, but it's just way safer. Ideally, once Axe starts pulling, Jakiro's not really a hero that can stop that. And so what I would want to do as Jakiro is to walk bottom, play here, and try to get Spirit Breaker to rotate down here. Anytime Spirit Breaker dives top, then I TP up here, I wait till my TP is about off cooldown, and then I walk away again or something. But now that Axe is pulling, you're just like splitting farm with PA underneath the tower, you know? And it feels really awkward. Why am I on free cam? My bad. I would have used your dual breath there. Like, look how low he's actually getting. If you see him diving like this, like, I don't know if this guy didn't have charge or I missed that or something. I feel like they could dive this if they wanted to. So I would want to use dual breath to dissuade that. And also because you're mostly full mana right now. So popping that, get off some damage. Okay, that's good use too. Be a little careful walking out this far. You could die. Are you going to? It's close. Don't attack yet. Okay. In that case, you shouldn't. I don't think you should attack Axe because it's very close, but he calls her. This guy's got 68% physical resistance, which means you do, you know, like 20 damage-ish. But your auto attacks still have the chance to proc counter Helix, which is 100 pure damage on this PA, who's very close to dying and is called. So I don't think you should attack Axe when he calls like this. And you're praying right now that he does not stun, or that he doesn't proc Helix from PA or these creeps. But you attacking in just adds to like the chance he might Helix. Now, I think she died anyways without that Helix, but still, that's something to keep in mind. Unless he's very close to dying, it's kind of not worth attacking. In fact, let's see if slow down here. You see how like little your attack did? Not to mention that he has that 16% chance for damage block. It's like you did like 5 damage. It's not worth risking the counter Helix. Now it is kind of close, I know, but like I would wait till it's even closer. Usually, I would just like attack Spirit Breaker or position myself to get so that he can't run away or something like that. I think that's better. Oops, we're still looking at him. Okay, moving him over there. PA, by the way, is a hero I might consider looking for a fast Bassie because she wants to spam out Dagger a lot to be able to play this lane safely. And that Bassie would help you when you rotate bottom to go lane there. At this point, you should also, I guess I haven't experimented it myself, getting the soul ring. I still am not sure if you're the 4 or the 5. I'm going to assume you're the 4 just playing up here with your friend. But that's kind of weird because you... I don't know. It's like unclear to me. But the downside of Soul Ring is that it doesn't help your team. And that Jakiro doesn't have massive mana issues. If he continues to spam out a lane for a long time, yes, he has some issues. But usually you can just fix that with a Clarity and or a cheap mana regen item like Raindrops or Ring of Basilius. Raindrops helps you survive, which helps you contribute to team fights longer. Basilius helps you like give mana to your team, all of which would really like that. Like, look at your team. The Soul Ring only helps yourself. It does make you a little tankier, gives you a bit of armor, but you know, it's kind of expensive relative. Like, you could have a Ring of Basilius and a Raindrops for the price of this Soul Ring. I don't know. Maybe I have to try it out to see how it feels. But I really like Ring of Basilius against this team. So, at this point, I consider this lane not doing great. If it was one of my games, I would want PA to be about probably 5-ish right around now. Let's look at your mid laner. What's your mid? Yeah, Zeus is 6. He's 6. Which means I don't think it would be that crazy doing some pulls if she is like close to 5. Maybe she's like level 4, close to 5 right now, and I'm probably like level 2, maybe level 3. And Axe is hopefully like level 3, and I'm bullying it out from either bullying him or doing good pulls, stuff like that. I would want her to be like close to a 2-level advantage right now in the ideal lane, because that means I can leave and I can go do stuff like down here. I would just leave PA a ward like in this area and then get out of here. But now that she's actually a level behind Axe, it becomes really difficult for you. And I'm trying to decide what you should do, because you actually cannot leave her alone in this lane now, or she'll die. But at the same time, just staying in this lane also feels really bad. Which is tough. This is like where the lane gets really weird, but like we shouldn't have been in this situation necessarily. We could have like done more pulls and stuff like that. There should be like dagger last hits and stuff. Like, both of you standing here, this is awkward. Like, these should be pulls right now. Anytime you're ever standing in lane, you should be asking yourself, like, am I actually doing anything in lane? A lot of times you're not. A lot of times you should just be like pulling frequently or back here, but you're showing in lane and not really doing much, which means Spirit Breaker should feel very free to like gank bottom or mid because he knows you're up here. Whereas if you're at least pulling out of sight, I mean, ignore the fact that they have a ward here. Pretend they don't have a ward and they don't know you're here. If you leave out of sight, they have to be a little careful. They don't know if they can dive this PA because maybe you're actually just standing in the trees. They don't know if they can dive these guys because maybe you've rotated down here. Maybe you're currently rotating and you're in mid. You're not showing, so they have to be a little careful. But when you are showing, they know they don't have to be that careful. I mean, they know that, okay, we're not going to dive top because there's 2 heroes here, but like I can go mid or bottom. And you aren't really getting much done. Sometimes you have to show to like make a play, but right now you're not really making a play. You're just splitting XP and gold with this PA. See all this? She can do this by herself at this point. You standing like back here and pulling, doing half pulls at this point, so she has some creeps to tank for her. You are out of range, so she can get this solo XP, but you're still close enough to rotate in and help. But if you're here the whole time, you're like stealing XP from her, and she's like never gonna catch up. She's now like 2 levels behind, and Axe is like by himself. You know, it's really rough. Is Zeus rotated up here for a kill? I don't think it's happening though. Yeah, he was like full health when he came up here. Okay, Underlord got a double kill. That's really good. Oops, sorry, it's supposed to be on you. Yeah, stuff like that's going to happen a lot. At this point, the lane is so lost, you just have to leave. Staying in the lane, staying close to the lane and doing these pulls was to try to get her to like level 4 or 5 so she can go jungle. But we kind of like split the XP for a long time, and now she's like still not able to jungle even though we've been here the whole time. And at this point, you just can't really lane. Axe can solo kill her if she ever gets too close. And if she's not that close, Spirit Breaker could stun her, giving enough time for Axe to get close enough and then kill her. She has to jungle. You can't be in the lane, or it's not like worth your time being in the lane, so you should be bottom pressuring this stuff instead. That's what I think should be happening right around now. I'm not sure what's on your courier. Let's see what you buy. You're getting the Yules, which I think... I'm pretty happy with the Yules. It's kind of weird. Like, if you're the 4 position, I'd be a lot happier, and I'm very confused whether you are or not. But the Yules is good because you can stop his charge. You can Yules him when he calls. You can Yules this guy so your team can get out. You can Yules Sven to kite him. Gives you the mana regen, helps you set things up. Let's see what you bought, though. Real quick. So you did get the Soul Ring. So this is the other issue with Soul Ring, is that Yules solves a lot of your mana issues. And so instead of getting a Soul Ring, which is... Oops, not that one. Where the heck? Here. 740 gold. This Void Stone is 825. So it's not that much more expensive to go for a Void Stone. The Void Stone handles a lot of your mana issues. You still need to ferry a Clarity out or in a couple, but it builds into your Yules, which means you get your Yules sooner. Even though it's not technically as much mana as a Soul Ring, you might be able to get out of that. But I think being able to get the Yules sooner is generally good. I also think you should have a stick before doing this, and you have a couple slots. So like that's where like I think Ring of Basilius, the stick, and then starting off with like a Windlace maybe, or rushing for the Void Stone if you get a influx of gold from like a kill or something. I think those could be good. I don't know. I'm not sold on Soul Ring on Jakiro, but I guess I can try it out once or twice and see how it feels. Maybe I'm too harsh on it. With the cheaper price, it's like not so bad. Okay, it's kind of working out. Yeah, play safe because you are close to dying. I would probably... I guess you have Tranquils. But you can't really be in lane because you're this low. So, in lane, kind of dangerous. Someone could rotate up here, all that jazz. But with your Tranquils, and if you bring out a Clarity or two, eventually you'll be full health, and you don't necessarily need to go back. So what can you do that is safe and still doing something on the map? Being in this jungle, stacking, or taking the time to rotate all the way down here, by the time you get here, you'd be mostly full health. And that way, like, rotating all the way back here is very safe. They probably don't have vision of you for Spirit Breaker to charge you. And by that point, your Triangle should have healed you enough so you don't die anyways. But being up here, it's like not a good use of time. What are we at? 23 minutes? Incredible. Runes are coming up here. I think you are the 5. You're buying wards. Okay, someone's rotating in. Missed the stun, but that's okay. It's another case where I'm not sure if you need to attack. Let's see. So yeah, I would kind of wait for him to do the call before throwing out the Ice Path, because that's pretty much a guaranteed stun if you see him standing still to do the call, and it also means he can't attack in that time, at least. Whereas, I don't know if the stun is quite necessary yet. Maybe it's to try to set up for the Underlord, but I think with the PA Dagger to slow him down, and your spell slowing him down, I think Underlord can just run up, because Underlord has phase boots, yeah. So, I don't know if you need to use it quite yet. This case, well, I guess you're using your Liquid Fire on him. That's kind of okay. But what's he at? 69% physical resist. So you're still doing very little to this guy. And again, you're just like increasing the chance that a proc might happen and kill the PA. But she probably would have died there anyway, so maybe it's fine. Maybe I'm reading into it too much. Personally, I think you actually want to stay like... So instead of going too deep, you want to stay in this area because this tower will give you armor and regen. And if you like stay here when you get hit, then Spirit Breaker has to tank damage from the tower because the tower can hit him. Whereas by pulling it all the way back here, the tower actually can't hit back here, which means now they're just free to dive you as long as it takes to kill you. And then they'll switch to this Underlord probably. Okay, we're switching to like conceptual themes now, right? You guys are coming back top, but top sucks. There's an Axe who's doing so well up here. They have a Spirit Breaker you can charge and set up the Axe dive. They have a Venno who's now up here. And it's so hard to run into wards as a support. Top feels so bad to be in right now. I don't want to be top. I don't want to do anything up here. PA? How is PA going to farm up here against Spirit Breaker, Axe, Venno? She's not. She has to go somewhere else. She has to go farm. Now, Underlord, sure, you guys could defend this area because you guys are pretty good at that. Just avoid being dove. Don't leave too far. Just stay here and burst out the waves. But walk up here, be ready to TP out. Other people should walk away, be ready to TP in to help. Ideally, this tower would have fallen already by the time you guys have to come up here to defend this. But of course, nothing goes fully according to plan. Something like this stuff happens. But you see how she TP'd up here, and now she should just die. And now you're not going to farm. And now you're coming mid where it's like free to farm. Who should be here to free to farm? It should be PA. It should be the hard carry. The hard support and other roles like 3 and 4, they're the ones that need to make space and relieve pressure. You're the one who can like actually push out waves with dual breath, Underlord with his firestorm, Zeus. Zeus a little too fragile to be up here unless he needs to rotate in. He doesn't want to be there preemptively. You and Underlord are fairly tanky, can depush the wave. Zeus, too fragile for that. He needs to be the one to rotate after they commit onto you guys. But the point is, PA could take her time to farm this because this is safe. She cannot push out waves top. She's just like awful at it because she has no AoE or anything. And you TP'd mid, which means now you can't come top to help them. What's the net worth at? Ooh, so Zeus got wrecked. I don't know if that should happen. Kind of feel like you just keep your distance and last hit in terms of the matchup, but I'm not a mid player, so I'm not 100% sure. Again, we're not going to worry about that because as a 5 support, I don't know if you would have impacted mid at all anyways. Like, even if he wins, that would have been purely the player skill, understanding the matchup and how to play the hero. And so, again, we're not really worried about how our team is doing necessarily. We're just worried about improving ourselves. So the fact that mid lost is very unfortunate. We won't focus too much on it though. I feel like it's a bit disingenuous because I don't know what I said there. What am I saying? It's not fair, a fully fair comparison, because sometimes you do lose the mid lane, or like your team loses matchups, and it's like we still have to come back. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't want the emphasis to be there, I guess is what I'm thinking. Axe also doing a lot better than Underlord. Well, not a lot better, but, fairly better. And you see, like, look at all this farm you're getting. You're actually so close in farm to the PA. Isn't that weird? I'm still not sure if you're the 5 or the 4. I guess maybe you're the 4. We'll assume you're 4. I don't know. The point is, either role should not be too farmed compared to your hard carry at this point. But like you are getting a lot of the free farm while PA is struggling top getting bullied around. That doesn't make much sense. You're not going to win this game off of like a farm Jakiro. Never really need to walk up this far, especially against a Spirit Breaker. An Axe who's doing well could be going for a blink soon. I know he's showing top, but at the same time, you still don't really ever need to walk up here because I'm not saying this just because we could see this happening in this replay, but just because I know it can happen, that people can teleport right here And coming up here puts me in range of like Veno Q, of his Q that slows me, his stun, stuff like that. And once that happens, it's like very hard for me to get out. They could combo that. The slow into Spirit Breaker charge, and now that guy is right on top of me, and I'm dead before I can even get back here. You kind of like need to stay back further. And if Zeus is up here, you need to be like even further back. Let Zeus farm, and then just be ready to back Zeus up. I think you're trying to take the tower. Good ice path. I think you need to run back mid. Okay, now you are. But you need to run back mid anyways. Well, I don't know. With Oracle there, I think you do. Let's see. Where's Oracle on the minimap? Oracle TP'd in. Okay, that's fair. I probably would have missed that happening too, maybe. Okay. Okay. This is sort of okay currently. You're gonna die? Oh, close. That was just the ult on you, actually. You won't die from that. You see how you're like, the issue for you recently has been your health and not mana? But that, like, you can't even use your Soul Ring when you're low health. And against the Venomancer, you're going to frequently be low health. I don't know. That's kind of why I, like, I'm just, like, coming up with more reasons I don't love Soul Ring. Okay, mid gets denied. Very unfortunate. See, PA keeps coming top. PA needs to not keep coming top. Top sucks. You need to be really careful how you come up top. I would run this way instead. Unless your team is actively trying to make a play right now to kill the guy right here, which maybe you guys were. I don't know. Maybe you guys are talking. Otherwise, you should rotate this way. It's just safer. Not this way. This way. They aren't going to dive you back here. They might. They're less likely to dive you back here. They're totally willing to dive you right here. It's not even a dive here. They're just killing you. In fact, you're out of position over here. When they're ahead and they have a Spirit Breaker, this is out of position. They are likely to have wards there. If they see you, they'll charge. That's why that other path is safer. Kill Axe. Axe overextends, okay. So see, this is a fundamental issue. Your guys' farm is just about equal. That should never happen. You know your game is like in such a bad spot if that ever happens. That happened because Jakiro, you were the one free farming in like all the free spaces, like here, or like you were up top absorbing farm, or like sometimes she'd be farming small camp while you get these creeps. And then she like keeps coming top in the most difficult place to farm, and as a result, she's not farming. And then instead of being there, you are the one taking like all the free farm. So this is like a conceptual issue. You need to know when to ditch the top lane. And if your friend doesn't know when to do that, you need to know to tell them to ditch the top lane. And the top lane, once it was lost, once Axe started to get the level advantage and cut the lane, I think of this lane as lost. I don't care if this tower falls super early, if it means we're still farming like decently. And so if the lane has to like switch to PA farming the jungle, and if you're strong enough, depending how the lane went, maybe you can hold the lane on your own, or more likely you just rotate bottom, 3 of you, Jakiro, Underlord, Oracle. Like that's actually a solid combo. You know, you have a lot of magic damage between the 2 of you and a bit of roots and saves from Oracle. I feel like you can pressure this bottom lane a lot. And that draws attention away from PA. Axe, not the fastest tower taker. He cuts waves and stuff, but like his actual tower damage is not amazing. So like you have time to like get other stuff done while you sack that tower. Okay, good pickup on that kill. Now you did expedite that mid tower taking, so like technically that's good. But at the same time, I feel like I don't know. You were the one I would rather PA be the one doing this, essentially. Even if she doesn't take the tower, PA is the one here pushing mid and farming, rather than PA being up here against 4 heroes. And if you want to like shove the wave and farm, I think it should be this bottom lane, where it's this like usually the first objective. It's not mid. Mid's like kind of dangerous to do, especially against Spirit Breaker. It's kind of weird that you were able to do that so long. And the reason you were able to do that so long is because they were like, well, we'll just keep killing PA top. But I still don't think they should have given up their mid tower for free. They denied it, but still. I think it's safer for you to push bottom with your team rather than try to do this like solo mid thing. Whose mango tree is that? Is that yours? I feel like that's going to die really easily. I can't tell whose it is, but I'm still not sure where the mango tree should go. A lot of people just put it in base. I don't hate that idea. It's kind of nice having mangoes all game. The vision's also pretty good, but it needs to be hidden, and I don't... Yeah, this is like not hidden, so I think that should have been broken pretty easily. Or maybe Axe doesn't have a Quelling Blade, actually. Oh, he didn't. Well, at some point they should tell their Sven or someone, go cut that mango tree. Alright, you guys have a lot of heroes mid. No one's making use of the top lane, which they have now sort of left. Like, they took that tower and they were like, oh, we can move on now. They shouldn't really. They should be playing in this area. But if they're going to act like that, then someone needs to go get top. Someone like Underlord, someone who's relatively safe. When you see Spirit Breaker charging in, you can TP out with the ult. Oh, you don't have it. Yeah, you're still kind of safest one to do it. Let's see what you guys do. Do you start a fight? Okay, so see, this sort of worked out, except it shouldn't have. This is not like a good play you guys did. It is a bad play that Spirit Breaker did. And we want to avoid that. To recognize that this was still not optimal to have 5 people sitting in mid where you don't even have a tower to take. Like right now, you guys just need to be farming up. They are in the lead right now. So you guys just want to slow down their momentum and catch up. You don't need to force things to happen. They're the ones that need to force things to happen. It's a tough PA game, not impossible. They don't have the best way to get on Zeus. I mean, there's Spirit Breaker, but you guys have decent ways to protect him. And so, like, if a fight goes on long enough and Zeus is, like, outputting damage from the back, eventually I think you guys would win a team fight. I think your supports are better than their supports. And so I think you guys are okay with a long game. And you don't really have a choice either. When you have a rough start like you guys are, I don't know if you guys realized you were having this bad of a start, but when you're having a bad start, you kind of don't have a choice except to plan to go late. You just have to do it. It's like, well, we're behind. We can't force anything early. We'll just lose. And so you just have to play for late. And that means you don't need 5 people grouping up for a non-existing objective because you already got it earlier. And you've passed PA and farm. That's like a real issue. It is like farm that Zeus can get. You don't need to use your spells on it. Okay, you have a Yule's. I do think a stick is really good. I do think some kind of magic resist this game is really good. Well, okay, if Underlord gets the pipe and she gets the glimmer, he gets the glimmer, then actually that's okay. You don't need to get any. Yeah, Force Staff is pretty good. Get out of the link. I'm kind of thinking, because you're doing so well, still lost whether you're the 4 or the 5. If you're the 4, it's okay to prioritize damage. Let's see. I do like this trying to defend mid, but this positioning is like super unideal. If you want to defend this tower. So at about this point, we see 2 heroes mid, 3 bottom. Let's fast forward. Now we see them there. Okay, this is your mouse actually. So you notice them too. Right now, this tower's like nowhere near dying. Well, okay, it's kind of close, like 60%. That's not the worst. But you can macro pyre this and hold this out for like 30 seconds, you know? So I think you or Underlord should come here, like right now, TP up here, and then defend this tower. Either you macro pyre or just use your spells. Underlord, if he had his ult, could TP here, defend it, and then ult back into a team fight bottom. That would be good. But it has to be like fast. By the time you rotate. So I think you decided you wanted to walk there, but you'll never make it. And the positioning is so dangerous, especially the path you took. I mean, you saw, you die. But if you want to like walk there safely, you have to like walk through here, walk back here. But they're already going to be at the tower. Like, they're ready to move right now. And they have a Venomancer and an Axe. The tower is already below 50. If you wanted to walk here, you had to do it like when you saw them here and decided, hey, they're going to push mid. I need to go walk there and be in position now. Because you didn't walk there, you kind of have to TP. You see how like this just feels really bad? Like, where do you go from here? You need to defend this tower, but you're here. And there's like no option. This is sure death. This is their side. You go this way, but now you're like way away from the objective you want. If you walk this way, and then you see them like here, it's like, okay, I'll loop around this way. That still brings me to my objective eventually, and that's fairly safe. Or maybe you even have the option to like cut through here, depending if they're like way back here. They don't have blinks or something. Just some small positioning stuff. Actually, it's not that small. It's kind of like a bigger idea to get in the habit of. Ooh, close. I like the idea. Really good idea. That's probably your best bet to try to survive there. Unfortunately, Racer got Yules. You guys still win. You guys can still win. It's not too bad yet, but it's getting really tough. It's getting close to not happening. And a large part of it is just because like PA is so far behind. So far behind. I'm not trying to flame or anything. I'm just trying to like paint it as I see it, you know? I would take a look at what's happening there. At least like click on your minimap. And in fact, right now. Okay, these last hits, these auto attacks, that's fine. This, not as fine. Because PA, who's super far behind, this is really safe farm. PA's walking up. This lane's not going to go anywhere yet, you know? It's going to stay right here. Unless you dual breath and farm everything. And if you dual breath and farm everything, there's nothing for PA when she gets here. And the lane is going to push out to over here. This is not safe for PA to farm. And so at this point, I don't think you should be here. You could get those last two hits, those two last hits here, by just auto-attacking because you're not shoving the wave or anything. But right after that, you should move somewhere. You should either go top or bottom. Top is already kind of pushed out. And more than that, you already have team members down here and you see them pushing. So like that's where you should be. You should walk this way, which is the safest way. Okay, and now you run this way. This is kind of a dangerous path because what if they had like come through here? Not the worst though, because your team's over there. But I think if you had come over sooner, like maybe something could have happened. Fight's happening bottom. Ooh. Oh, that's no good. Oracle should not ult you. Well, yeah, you're actually more farmed than the PA. The carry's the priority, though. Oh, see, this is another level 10 to level 12. You're farming a lot. I don't know if you're the 5 or the 4. If you're the 4, you're usually allowed to farm a lot, but this is still too much. And as the 5, it's definitely too much. Good stack, though. Let's go back to that fight. So instead of being out here, what if you had pushed that lave and now you're down here? You would have seen the Spirit Breaker running through here. You could have known I might need to Ice Path here soon, and if you positioned like here, you could Ice Path this way, stop this charge. Or he finished the charge, whatever. Now you Ice Path here. Like, what if you had an Ice Path Macro Pyre right here? It really changes the feeling of this fight, doesn't it? It helps to protect Zeus, and helps to possibly get the kill on these two heroes. That's all from preemptive positioning. And I do think your team needs to defend this. Your team's like pretty good at defending. You have a Underlord, you have a Zeus. Personally, I think Underlord should get a pipe first. I don't think a blade mail is necessary, really. It's kind of good against these two heroes, actually. I don't know. I don't know enough about Underlord. But at least, I don't know. Pipe's really good against Venomancer. Blade mail is really good against Sven and Razor, though. Yeah, maybe blade mail is fine. But either way, he brings the team fight aura and the wave clear. This guy brings the wave clear. This guy sits way in the back to protect these guys. And then you should be there to help deter dives. When they come in, you have the ice path, you have the macro pyre, stuff like that. Oh, I just noticed. I don't know if you should have max liquid fire. You guys aren't really pushing towers anytime soon because you're so far behind. I think maxing out the stun is a lot better to try to turn some of these fights. Especially because you're the only stun on your team. I think it's really important for you to have the stuns. Okay. After you stack it, you can't farm it yourself. Like, the PA is super behind, Zeus is super behind, compared to... well, yeah, he's super behind. He's like 3k behind the enemy mid. Everyone is really behind. And you're like way rich as a support. You should be like down here, like shift 2k of your gold to your carry. And she already has the Deso, and she's starting to build a BKB. And what would you be missing if you lost 2k? You know, your Yules would not be quite done yet if you had the Soul Ring, but can't you still do most of your jobs and cast all your spells? Yes. And in fact, you don't even have to get rid of the Yules. It's pretty much the Soul Ring and the Staff of Wizardry you wouldn't have, and you would still have a Yules Tranquil Boots. That's pretty solid. And then she would have the Deso and the BKB. Like, isn't that way more impactful than you finishing this 4-staff? Like, I think 4-staff is a decent next item, but not if you don't have a carry that can win the game. It's really important for her to have farm. This is really safe. You stacked it. That was really good. This is really safe to farm because your team has left. You have a ward here. So it's got to be left for a carry. Okay, everyone back out. Try not to die. PA right now wants to like come top and farm, and you guys go bottom and defend this area. Let's see. I wouldn't run out this far. I would like stay back here this whole time. Might not have been too bad. Unfortunately, a little too far away. They're really clumped up. You know? Because they're in the lead. They know it. They're pushing a lot of stuff. Who on your team is very mobile? She can push with blur, and they won't even necessarily know that she's pushing top lane, right? If she's blurred out. And then she can TP home. He has an ultimate that lets him, you know, move around the map quickly. I don't know how to go into that further. Zeus, global ultimate. Veno, not very mobile. Spirit Breaker is very mobile, but he can't do things on his own. He needs one of these core heroes to be there to get a kill. If your team sees a lot of them bottom and here, someone has to be top. Someone has to force a rotation. Either PA blurred so that she can't even be targeted by charge, and maybe she won't even be noticed at all that she's pushing top. She's getting a lot of farm, not being bothered. Underlord, the most survivable, most likely guy to survive if Spirit Breaker charges him, plus one of these cores. Is he going to die? It's going to be really close, especially if he channels his ult before he gets stunned. If they rotate 2 or 3 plus the Spirit Breaker charge, isn't that going to be obvious when there's like 4 people down here and suddenly they're like all gone? And it's like, well, where could they go? We have an Underlord pressuring top. Where do you think they went? Probably top, and then he just channels his ult and hopefully gets out. Point is, that would force people top and delay the game out. That would give you a chance to run up here, try to de-ward this whole area, try to make it a little safer for PA to farm. You're making space for your team. If Underlord and PA and stuff aren't doing that, then you can do that. It's not the best. I do think a core should be the one doing it because they need the farm. But if you're in a game where your cores aren't doing the job they need to do, and it's a job that needs to happen, and this is a job that needs to happen, is to defend this, is to push this out. It is like actually defending your stuff by pushing this out and forcing someone to rotate. And if not, then it's like a trade, which is good when you're behind. But you are the best hero, one of the best heroes to defend, and that's why you should be there. But that's why it's kind of a tough call in a team game like this, where someone needs to be doing this, so like sometimes you need to do it as a support, even though you're not the best for it. All these really long range spells. To defend this tower, you can stand back here, cast all your spells up here. There's no reason to like go beyond this line as a support. Stay way back. They are ahead. You need to respect that. Even if you don't see a lot of them, to me, this makes me uncomfortable. You have a whole team here, and it still makes me uncomfortable. And then, like, see, anytime I'm next to a carry, also very uncomfortable. For this reason right here. What if you were back here? You wouldn't even be called or stunned. And then you could Ice Path Macropyre on whoever they went on. Now, that is what Jakiro wants to do. Jakiro wants to stay in the back and then land all the AoE spells when they all initiate on one target. And if you're that target, it's not going to work. Are you going to live? That's crazy. This fight miraculously kind of worked out. Let's watch it again and discuss why. So first, this is technically good for them. It is a little scary because it's under their tower, but I don't mind a soft commitment on this. Spirit Breaker charge. So the Oracle save, that's really good. At this point, I wouldn't have continued with them. I would have just backed off. But looks like they still want to fight. This guy goes in. This is pretty deep. You were able to get off a lot of your spells. And then because they took so much magic damage from being here under your tower, you end up killing some of them. PA dies, unfortunately. She was probably the most important hero to survive. But when your team is losing, 3 for 1, even if it's your hard carry, pretty good. So now you guys are staying out a little too long. Now he might die. Okay, Oracle saving him. Okay, de-warding this area. That's good. I would not put the sentry here, though. Jakiro has high ground vision. Put the ward, like, put the sentry somewhere here. Ice path this so that you can check that. And then you can also check, like, this area and this area for wards. Putting it right up here. It's very uncommon to ever have, like, a ward in this area on the floor. So it's like your vision is only useful in this tiny area and nowhere else around here. Maybe over here. But putting it over here, it lets you see the same spot, but then this area is also very useful to see, to check for wards, because people will actually put wards here. See, you would have gotten that with one sentry if that sentry was there. That's actually a perfect example. Good, don't farm any of that. Carries need it. Looks like they want to come mid again. Yeah, I would not initiate on Axe. You guys won a team fight, still behind. Part of why you won that team fight is you were under this tower, which gives you armor and magic, or I'm sorry, armor and health regen, and helps add damage to your team. If you are here, I don't mind you walking up, but I thought you were going to walk up and Q this wave to start weakening it so that by the time they get here, like hopefully a carry can quickly farm this. You don't actually want to initiate on this guy, and like running even further, like that's no good. I think you just ice path, scare him a little, make him think, oh, they're going on me, and then back off. I think that's okay, but walking in further, I don't want to risk that. I don't know if PA dying was... Let's watch free cam. Okay, so part of this is because she feels the need to farm. But this is not the area to farm. Okay, yeah, she could have farmed here, so... But imagine if you hadn't done this and, like, drawn people in and you just, like, cue the wave to be weak and then it pushes in and then she farms here. That'd be way safer. Having said that, I think the wave still ended up here, so I think just being here is not... That's not your fault. PA just shouldn't be farming there at that time. If you ever notice where your carry is, though, and your carry's out of position... One, tell them like, hey, back off. But also, she has a blink, and you have an AoE stun. So, like, if you see her trying to farm this and you know it's risky, but, like, she really needs to for whatever reason, stand over here or something. And so that way, if they go on her, she has a target to blink out to. And when they all engage on her, you can ice path, maybe even dual breath, and help protect her. But, like, you're too far up here. Again, not strictly your fault. I think that is out of position on her spot, but... It is something you can consider, trying to keep yourself in a good position to protect them. All right, it's time to leave this tower now. Yeah, I don't think there's really a way for you to get out. So they're going to get mid now. Ideally, someone would have been pushing top. So, like, let's go back here. When we know they're all here, do we really need 5 heroes mid? You guys have your teleports. Someone can be top, pushing that out, and when a fight breaks out, someone TPs in. Now, it's not you, but you should tell a carry to do it. You should tell someone go there and then TP into the fight when it breaks out. You're really good at defending, you know, exactly this kind of stuff. Like, that makes you really great at defending towers. Okay. I can't believe this game goes on for 20 more minutes. That's wild. Okay, what are your team's neutrals? I really don't think you need more mana. The armor is kind of nice. I'm not 100% sure whether with your current armor, the 100 health is more effective health rather than 2 extra armor. But I would want this in my backpack regardless to dig things up throughout this game because my team needs gold so badly. Oh my goodness, we're so far behind. I am praying to dig up bounty runes. And you know what? Free salves to heal my team so that they can keep farming. That's great too. But this is like free value. And I would want to hold that. And also tell your Oracle to pick something up. Oracle should hold this then. She can salve people when she ults. Whatever. And then your team needs to get their tier 3 neutrals. See, again, I don't think this is stuff you want to farm. This is still somewhat safe for your team to get. And I think they really need to take it. You go, like, ward or something right now. Go stack something. But now, like, PA's in this area and she has nothing to farm. You know? And now she has to run top. Guess what? She has other carries farming there. You ran all the way up here. That's way too far. What were you doing up there? Are you trying to ward? You found the real Veno. I don't think you can ward there. At this time. When you're this far behind, you know, this kind of ward is nice to have. But when you're this far behind, you can't really push up there alone. Your entire team has to, like, push out with you and drop this and then get out. And even that is really dangerous. You are kind of forced to have really safe wards for now until your team happens to win a fight like you did earlier. Then it's safe to push out. But for now, coming out this far, especially alone, is, like, way too dangerous. And in fact, it might be even worse bringing your whole team there. Because then I think your whole team dies out here. Like, alternatively, what can you guys do? You could push out top or bottom. I feel like we've been playing mid for so long, you know? We've been here for, like, 5 manning this area the whole time. No one wants to split push this game. Split pushing is how you extend the game. It's how you get farm when you're behind. The enemy team needs to group up to push when they're ahead, and so you need to try to catch up and farm from the side. See, this is about as good as your team could hope. So one, this, no good. Go this way with your team. This is just asking to be in a really dangerous spot. However, warding up here, that is good. A team fight looks like it's breaking out. You want vision. I like this. I would consider putting the sentry on the floor, though, over here. That has more useful vision, and you already have high ground vision from the ward you placed. Not to mention you have a Zeus. But I do like the idea of having a sentry to check here. I do think this is a little too dangerous of a time to be doing it, though. I think you want to push this away with your team, and then if you have an opportunity for your team to push up here a bit, then maybe you like stand down here and drop something up there. But I think this way is just like really scary to me. So next, that Zeus ult gave vision of everyone. I don't think there was really much you could do to save that guy. Maybe you can ice path sooner. Let's see, what were you doing? Yeah, potential. Oh, actually, it's on cooldown. When did you use it? Oh, you used it over here. Maybe you could have ulted him. You could have. Okay, but this is still pretty good. But then this just like shows how far behind you guys are. Like overall, this part was like kind of good, and then you're still gonna get wrecked by this guy just because he's like massively ahead. At this point, tactically, there's like only so much you can do. Your only like viable option is to be split pushing. These kind of team fights, like I would argue this went fairly well for you. And if you guys were more ahead or like even, you could have won this fight. But because you're so far behind, you can't even take like good fights up here. Let's see. I mean, yeah, she's 6th level behind and like half the net worth. It's so hard to take any of these fights. And she even pays her life for that. I feel like I could just stop watching right now. But we'll keep going. But we'll probably speed through the rest. I feel like this is just snowballed from a loss. And again, it's not fully your fault. Like Zeus just lost his mid matchup. And I actually don't know how bottom went. But in terms of like what you could have done to help your team more is to like win this lane better. I don't think necessarily you guys would win versus an Axe, but it could at least been even, where you're doing more pulls and establishing that lead so that PA has a bit of time by herself while you go pressure bottom. And then when PA gets bullied out of top, she just goes in jungles. And you guys kind of sack top and take this bottom tower really quickly. And maybe if you can take this bottom tower fast enough, you guys come back top and defend this in time. But either way, like the starting lane needed to go better. And then followed up by like you farming too much and too many different opportunities. It means that like PA is just so behind. It's like so hard. So hard. What does this guy have? He's huge. Look at him. Terrifying. That was me mango. What the heck? How many mangoes was that? Was that 3? It sounded like more. I guess it was just 3. Oh, if I was him, I'd just be like looking to kill someone right now. Hey, look at that. I don't think you guys even want to be up here. Oh, actually, I guess no one showed for a bit. Alright. Not strictly anyone's fault there. They were just all missing. But I think that's also why you like have to be careful, because they're all missing. Someone needs to be there. Or the full team needs to be there, but then I think the full team is out of position. I think you guys just need to like play safe until you see more people show, and then you guys can exit the map. Now you did just see 4 here, which means someone should be like sprinting bottom to push that out and farm. It's just a solo Veno there. See, what is stopping you guys from pushing bottom right now? Didn't you just see them all mid? Like Zeus just... Was that Nimbus, I think? What did I miss? How did you guys see mid? Maybe that was a glitch on the replay. But like they just killed everyone top, or killed PA top, and it was like 4 of them, the really scary cores. That means bottom just has to be shoved out. That is farm your team needs, it is space your team needs, and it's like the only sort of safe spot, because if they're anywhere in this vicinity, you know like you can't be there. No need to casually, well, whatever. I was going to say stand inside base, but I guess you still have the T2, and you know they're over here. I'd still be a little scared. That's how far behind I feel for you right now. Like, this is how rough it is. That, like, even now, even with this tower up, I'm still playing safe, standing on, like, the high ground instead of the low ground, stuff like that. Did your team get all the neutrals? What do you guys have? At this point, I kind of feel like maybe this plus 13 stats is better for you than the 2 armor and 10 intelligence. You're not really going to have mana issues with both these items and a soul ring, so like all 3 of your items. So you don't need the intelligence or the active. The armor is like useful against this kind of physical damage, but the 13 strength plus your existing armor is probably more than that. Plus that health would help you survive magic damage as well. And 13 agility is more than 2 armor actually anyways. I forgot they changed that formula. So if no one's using it, I think you should use it. I'd be careful with throwing out stuns. I think just the slow there is enough, but you need to be really careful with your stun. It is essentially a save when they dive in. If you can stun like 2 or 3 of them all running in, that is super good. And so just casually stunning a Venomancer who's walking by puts your team on this dangerous spot for 9 seconds. 9 spell amp. I guess you kind of need to. Like, you need to be part of the damage because of how this game goes. At the same time, the attack range would have been really nice to, like, clear out Veno Ward safely. But I think when you are this behind, maybe you do need... This is like, whoa. Don't leave. Stay up here. It's terrifying. Yeah, they're just kind of, like, diving you. All right, did he overextend? I don't know if we... Let's go back. There's no guarantee that you would make it in time to do so. Anytime a team is diving you this hard, look to force staff them into Fountain. It doesn't look like you had the chance to this time, but I'm just going to point it out. Always keep it in mind as something that might happen. I would Yules him. Okay, no wonder why this game goes so long. They dive pointlessly. If I was you, as soon as he respawns, I would Yules and then Ice Path into that, so that he just doesn't have a chance to use any spells. And I think that would be safer. Yeah, you still kill him. His team kind of messed up, though. I feel like his team all should have just run up to him, and then he would have been fine. They could have fought you right there. Try to speed up and stuff starts happening. Well, I was wrong. Your mango tree is still alive after all this time. I don't think it should be, though. This should be okay. Sven is dead. That's about as good as I think that could have gone. To be clear, you absolutely should have lost by now. That push earlier should have just, like, straight up cleaned everything up. Mega, you guys. But they chose to, like, dive like crazy. And I still think they'll win, but it's just going to be delayed now. But this is part of why you never give up in Dota, is because, like, if the enemy does that enough times, you can come back. But there's not much for you to do at this point. I feel like now you are depending on your enemies to misplay rather than for you to, like, do anything correct and win. There's, like, very little you could do at this point. The main thing you could do is look to split push, but it's gotten to the point where Spirit Breaker plus any of them is pretty scary and could be a kill. So it's like really tough for you guys to split push now. That window has like started to close. Crimson Guard. First of all, someone needs to be using this item. This is a really good item. I don't hate that he's using it, but it also reduces his attack damage, and I don't think he needs this. I mean, I know your team needs the gold, and I kind of get that. I hope you're swapping this in. Maybe I just haven't been paying attention. We haven't been watching him. Crimson Guard feels weird. Sven kills you with overwhelming amounts of physical damage in a single or a few attacks. Crimson Guard is better against lots of small little attacks. So against Sven, who is like really your main issue right now, is that he just crushes you all with massive attacks. And in fact, Razor also follows a similar pattern where he steals a ton of damage, and then each individual attack does like 500 damage. And when you have a Crimson active, you're only reducing that by a bit. He's still doing most of his damage. Whereas if you have someone like a PL who does like 100 to 200 damage per attack, and he does like a bunch of those little attacks, then it's a little better. Take here. I don't know. You guys still need damage, I guess. But at the same time, I think the Ice Path cooldown is like way better. I think the more stuns you have in a game, the easier it is to win or to come back. So I don't mind the 6 spell amp, but I actually still feel like you need the Ice Path talent, which isn't ideal. If you had other teammates who had stuns, then I would still do the dual breath burn damage to match the spell amp. But in this case, you're the only stun, and technically over time, you have enough magic damage to win. Like with Underlord doing AoE burn, max HP burn, and like a Zeus doing health reduction stuff. And so you just need more time to kill them. And when they have like a melee hero like Sven, kiting him is super important. And so I think the Ice Path talent's better. This is a little far out. Spirit Breaker could kill you. This guy could Yules and kill you, I think. I don't know. This is just really risky to be out here. I just like would not be leaving high ground right now. Oh, saved? Okay. Not bad. It was kind of low. That would have been really big. That's like a high risk, medium reward kind of play. Because dying here is very close to just being game ending if you don't have buyback. And if you're forced to use buyback, like that's also pretty game ending. So dying means you lose the game. Getting the kill means you buy yourself another minute. Not getting the kill, game's kind of up in the air. So to me, it's a little safer not to go for that, even though it's really tempting. Unless I had all the team like really close, but that's also bad because X could like group call us. So in general, I just think that kill was not worth going for. And I would not be surprised if they get racks. Or you could just waste his BK and look for kills. That's cool too. So this is why the game's really long, is that Sven has no discipline to just hit towers. And I mean, if that happens enough, like Sven dying and first PA dying, that's way worse for Sven to die right now. Well, that's not fully true, because PA dying is like losing the game. Sven dying is like, okay, I've given up a slight amount of our 30k lead. So see, I want to emphasize your team is losing team fights even without Sven, and it's because they're massively ahead. You guys killing Sven is not you guys like being close in this game. It's that Sven is doing dumb stuff. And that's not to put you guys down. That's to like it's very important to recognize because there is no like net worth tab in the game, you know, but it's very important to recognize are we ahead or not? And I want to emphasize you guys are not close at all. And that sometimes it can be misleading when it's like, oh, we're still getting kills sometimes, but you have to identify how are we getting those kills. If we're getting some kills, it can lead you to think like, oh, we can push out, we can fight. No. The way you guys are getting kills is like 1v5 Spirit Breaker behind the T3. Sven, no BKB, in between 3 towers against 5 heroes. That is how you guys get kills. Never, like, you need to recognize that and know it's like, even though we got those kills, we absolutely still cannot team fight them outside here. Any amount of, like, equal heroes or not having all these tower advantages, we're for sure going to die. So not to flame, it's just important to be able to identify that, to know your options. I feel like it was making a funny noise. Speed up a bit. I guess it's okay. You can see some of them. Whenever you're in a late game situation like this and behind, your first priority, do not let them hit the tower. And so if you have to be the one to wave clear, that's okay. Second priority is to get as much gold as possible to the carries or to whoever needs it. If the support needs like some key item that'll change the game, like an Earth Shaker getting Blink, that's fine. But in general, it needs to go to the carries when you guys are super behind. So anytime I'm like seeing you push these waves, I'm asking, okay, do you need to push this wave to protect your tower? And like, are they close to pushing this and it's like critical to kill this tower really quickly or this wave really quickly? Or is this wave and the state of the game safe enough for a carry to come and farm this and you have a bit of time and leeway? Always ask yourself that when you're in these kind of situations. Instead of Crimson Guard, I kind of like the idea of like just saving for Scythe or Halberd. Halberd's good too. Ghost Scepter is a way to survive from Sven. I think that's good too. I'm just not sold on the Crimson Guard. Let's slow down. This looks like a game-ending fight. $1,000 crit. Damage block, 35% chance for ranged heroes, 60 if you use the active. So we bring down 1,086 to 1,000. Not so good against high damage crit heroes like this. Whereas Ghost Scepter, he can't take any damage. Okay, that should be it. Unless Sven decides to run into the fountain now. Yep. Alright. This should have happened 20 minutes ago. Maybe 20 is a little steep. 15? Around 15 minutes ago this could have happened. I see your team is a little salty. Yeah, again, I wouldn't worry about the team. Who cares about them? It's unlikely to play against them anyways, again. I wasn't watching them play, so it's like hard for me to comment on them. But I think there's just like conceptually a team thing. So individually, what you could have done better, and the main thing I think, you know, if you were to play this game again, what you should focus on to win it. I was scared. I looked over and I thought I wasn't recording. The main thing I would want you to improve on is your initial lane. PA started off just off on a really bad foot, and that made it very difficult to have options in that early portion of the game. So that is the main thing I think you should focus on for yourself. And in terms of what the team could have done to play better, we really And this is hard, okay? It's really hard to get people to do this. It's that idea of split pushing. It's really, I don't know. I feel bad saying that because it's like, just play better, guys. Just apply a really high concept of Dota. Duh. So it feels bad to say that, but that is what is happening. It's that one team is ahead and they want to push and take fights because they're ahead. And when you're behind, you need to avoid that. You need to get farm to catch up. How can you do that? By splitting the lanes. The enemy team generally cannot split up the same way. They need to be together to make things happen. And at best, usually they can cover like 2 lanes at a time. And then one person of your team can farm out top. But any kind of equal trade is bad for a team that's ahead. Because of... Well, how do I even say it? Being 10k behind at 10 minutes is awful. Being 10k behind at 40 minutes is like, okay, it's still a fairly even game. So anytime you're trading and it's like, oh, the enemy team that's ahead, 5k ahead, gets the mid tower, but we traded and got the top tower, both of our net worths on each team moves up about like 1,000, right? That's okay for us. Like, because we're just pushing it further into the game. We are keeping up in gold. Or we're like not letting them get further ahead. Let's see. Yeah, so your bottom lane did all right, but your mid and top was like super rough. I guess that's the other thing. Try not to farm as much. Really identify when you can let your carries farm. It's like 40 minutes of the game and you're still like the same net worth as the PA. And to be fair, I'm flaming you, but I do recognize the PA is several ranks below. Not to flame, but it's just when you're in a mixed ranked game, it's hard. That's why it's hard to play with friends when there's like a lot of variety in the ranks. So it is just tough. But I think it starts by being able to give them a better lane, and it's easier to play when you're ahead, right? Even if you're like a lower ranked player, it's like, wow, I start off with a 2k lead, and it's like, it's way less punishing, If I make mistakes, I'm strong enough to just kill them. Or like, I'm strong enough to like make decisions that I don't fully understand, but I'm just rich. So that's kind of like the easiest way to work with that, in my opinion. It's just like, give them a better lane. That's why I emphasize it as the way to start. And then the team just needs to learn to identify split pushing. And if you can identify that, that's good to be able to tell them like, hey, someone pushed bottom. If no one does it, whatever. At least you were able to know like that needed to happen. And eventually, as you rise in ranks, people will listen, or people will like agree. They'll recognize like, oh, you know what? He's totally right. I should go do that. And in the meantime, we just focus on the laning. It always comes back to laning. If your team's not like close enough in ranks to agree with your calls and they won't listen to you there, then the only thing you can do is just set your team up to win right off the very start. So that is that. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. Have a good one, guys. Stay hydrated and floss and brush your teeth every day.